What's up? This is Jared Gray with my co-host Jordan Rains on the IDP 41 Studs and Duds. What's up, brother? How you doing?
Good, man. Good. Excited. Week 1 is mostly in the books. And we got some new information. We got to watch some football yesterday, which was awesome. Week 1 is always interesting. It was good to see, there's some upsets. Jacksonville got a win. Arizona got a win. Some interesting stuff going on.
Yeah, for sure. Just some big plays. It was a fun fantasy football day. It sucked to see a lot of injuries, obviously.
Yeah, we had a
Top
few.
one off the top of my head, Leighton Vander Esch getting hurt. Looks like he's done for at least 6 weeks.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's going to elect for surgery or not, but
Oh man, that was the risk when you drafted him. You kind of knew. I mean, I don't want to say injury prone because I don't feel like that's fair, but some guys just are injury prone, and that's just baked in with them. So that sucks, though.
yeah,
It really does.
I mean, I almost say he has to be. I mean, he's had got injured in college, injured his second year in the pros, and injured now his third year. So I hate it. I love the dude. So it sucks to see him go down. That was a big one for me. So
Yeah. There was a couple other big injuries. I mean, on the defensive front, Drew Tranquil went out in that first drive with the ankle injury. That was not fun to watch.
nope.
Nick Kwiatkowski looked like he had a chest injury of some kind. He went out. Tremaine Edmonds
Which I really
and
thought.
Matt.
Yeah, Tremaine Edmonds. Well,
Yeah, some sort of shoulder injury. Matt Milano. I mean, neither of them went over 60% of snaps yesterday. Milano is week to week. I don't really know what's up with Edmonds yet. So
yeah,
those are
That's
all
some big
linebackers
names.
too.
Yeah, big name linebackers.
That's the deepest position in IDP fantasy football, and we just got axed with 6 dudes getting hurt week 1. So a couple
stars.
of them, yeah. I mean, Tremaine Edmonds, a lot of people's top 10. Vander Esch, a lot of people's top 15. So other guys are moving up.
Yep, agreed. It'll be interesting to see what happens in that defensive group for the Buffalo Bills, and I think that's something people are definitely have to look at. So,
yeah. Well, I guess we can talk about some of these studs and some of these duds from yesterday's game. Let's just talk about some of these defensive linemen. I mean, let's talk about the Washington football team. This defensive line looks like it's everything it was advertised to be. I mean, you got a sack and a half from Chase Young, a sack and a half from Matt Ioannidis, 2 sacks from Ryan Kerrigan. You had another sack from Montez Sweat. And they brought that team back from down 17 to beating the Eagles.
Yeah, man, it was crazy. That whole defense. I mean, we've been preaching it all off season. Think that's the best front forward in football, and I'm talking about proving it yesterday. Just in the backfield from the get. Matt Ioannidis, big day. Chase Young had a big day. Kerrigan comes up, plays really well. Bostic has a good day, from the linebacker position. Montez Sweat, like we talked about. And we said it was very possible during yesterday's show, Montez Sweat and Chase Young playing both at the same time. And if you did, it kind of worked out for you. So,
yeah. I mean, to this point in the week, I mean, Kerrigan, Matt Ioannidis, and Chase Young are all 3 in the top 12 defensive linemen on the week right now. So, I mean, we still have TJ Watt coming in tonight, Cam Hayward, a couple other big name guys playing, Bradley Chubb. But, I mean, wow. I mean, get a piece of this line. Same thing as last year. I mean, last year, Ioannidis was money. You could play Montez Sweat, and, Jonathan Allen was pretty good last year too. So, and he wasn't, not doing anything either. He still had a stat line yesterday. So, from what I saw, it looked like they were basically playing Young and Sweat mostly. I mean, Kerrigan was the one kind of spelling in and out.
Yep, and that's what we saw too. And that's kind of what we caught. We're talking about yesterday. We expected Young and Sweat to be the guys. They're young. They're got great motors. Kerrigan's the veteran presence, and he shows he still has it. But he's not a guy I'm trading for. If I'm trading for either one of the guys, it's Montez Sweat or Chase Young for sure. if you don't already have shares. So.
Yeah, two tackles for loss, 2 sacks, 1 fumble recovery, 2 quarterback hits for Ryan Kerrigan. Ended up with 25.6 points. That's good for top 4 on the week, or 3 actually. Let's talk about your boy Aldon Smith. He finished number 2 right now on the week. He came through with a massive game. He had 11 tackles total, 5 solos, a sack, a tackle for a loss.
Yeah, dude, everywhere. I mean, we were talking about Aldon Smith coming back, and all I kept hearing is this buzz in training camp. It was like, hey, how does Aldon Smith look? And Dak's like, bro, you'd have thought this dude had been, maybe taking this time off was the best thing on the planet for this guy because he's healthy. He's everywhere. I've been sacked by this dude like 6 times in practice. I'm like, we were talking about picking him up, and I told a buddy of mine, Brandon, like, listen, this is a guy that I'm targeting. If I tell you I'm targeting somebody, don't go pick him up. And I went and picked him up before the game started, just because I wasn't impressed with Eric Armstead, obviously. And boom, here we go. Like, this dude just blows up and have a big day, and just can't be more impressed with Aldon Smith on his first day back after 5 years.
Yeah, which, we might as well talk about a dud right now. Circle around to old DeMarcus Lawrence with his 1 tackle and 1 pass deflection for 5 points yesterday. That's a pretty tough look for a guy that I had in my top 10.
We were talking about last year, he kind of went down. We really thought we'd have an emergence, and Robert Quinn left, and here comes Aldon Smith. DeMarcus Lawrence stays right where he was, and somebody just takes the role. Maybe they're focusing so much on DeMarcus Lawrence that the other guy gets the love. And you saw it Robert Quinn last year. You're definitely seeing it Aldon Smith this year, who, as much as I love Robert Quinn, Aldon Smith, when in his prime, might still be in his prime, is a beast.
Yeah.
Just everywhere.
30 years old is not old for a defensive lineman. That's kind of the money spot for a lot of these guys.
And he's a healthy 30. He hasn't played a snap in years, because of everything he went through. And this dude's got like an 8-pack, so he's a gem. And if you can get shares, and you need to go get him. I was just lucky enough to grab him in like 3 of my leagues.
Nice. Christian Wilkins had a big day for Miami. 6 tackles, 5 solos, 1 sack, 2 passes defended, and a quarterback hit. He actually is the number 1 defensive lineman right now in IDP 1-2-3 scoring. He got 28 points. Aldon Smith had 27. Ryan Kerrigan, 25.6. Tack McKinley and then Joey Bosa are right on his heels with 24. And then Trey Flowers also has 23 points. Trey Flowers coming through again. He's such a disruptive guy. Last year I feel like he just was a kind of a forced fumble every other game kind of guy. And sure as shit, yesterday he gets a forced fumble, added a sack on there. Nice little day for him. Tackle for a loss, 23 points, like I said. What do you think about Trey Flowers, going forward? Is he somebody we need to maybe be considering as a top 15 guy, just because of the consistency factor? Or
here's my question to you. He hasn't slowed down. You looked at it 3 years ago or a couple years ago when he was with the Patriots. They ended up getting rid of him to go to New England or go to Detroit. Barring injury, he's been a top guy. He's been a guy that is very disruptive, like you were saying, is all over the place. You can't grab about what he's done overall, and he just continues to show up. And yeah, maybe he's a guy we're have to look at right now as a top 20 guy. Even a top 15 possibly, especially as much as they throw the ball. If they get ahead in the game, he's even more valuable.
Yeah. Very, very true. All right. Other big performers yesterday. Grady Jarrett had a monster game. I loved seeing that, man. 2 solos, 2 assists, tackle for loss, 1.5 sacks, and 3 quarterback hits. And he looked tough out there. He came flying through that line. So that was a good thing to see. Other big performers yesterday. I guess we could say, it's Thursday night, but Chris Jones had a nice game and up with 18 points. So that was pretty much all the really big defensive lineman guys. Aaron Donald showed up for his sack. Jason Pierre-Paul got a sack. They didn't let you down, but they didn't really blow up. Same thing.
I would say we had more duds than studs. I mean, Casey Hayward.
Yeah, we had a lot of guys that were just kind of okay. Had a lot of guys that were like just okay, really. I mean, Nick Bosa was just okay. Frank Clark was just okay. Chandler Jones, Justin Houston. I mean, they all scored 13 points. Melvin Ingram, Zadarius.
Josh Sweat.
Yeah, what did you put up? 15, 16 points? I think Josh Sweat only put up like 12 points.
I mean, he had 2 quarterback hits. He had a sack, a tackle for loss. How many solos did he have? 2 solos.
He ended up with 16. It's funny. Josh Sweat and Montez Sweat both were back to back with 16 points. That's funny. So all right. Well,
a surprise there. Like the biggest surprise for me was probably him.
Yeah, there were. So let's just go ahead and talk about the duds at defensive line. I mean, Josh Allen with a stinker, 3 points. Max Crosby with a stinker, 2 points. Yannick Ngakoue, even bigger stinker, 1 point. Like we said, DeMarcus Lawrence already had 5, and then Myles Garrett with only 8 points. Can't even get double digits for Myles Garrett yesterday.
You know, it's funny because they moved him to the right side, and I thought it was an interesting move by them, you know, because he's so strong from the other side. And maybe because, you know, the blind side is what he's been strong at, but it's almost like the right tackle has been the thing people have focused on because quarterbacks like to have a clear area. So a lot of teams have built up their right tackle to stop that guy. And, you know, that person has emerged. Well, they moved him, and he's a dud yesterday overall, you know, in comparison to what he normally you expect for him to put up. So that was a big difference for me. And, I mean, something to look forward on, you know, especially as bad as the Browns played yesterday. The Browns were circa 2015 Browns again.
I mean, they've been the same Browns for a while now, it feels like. So, all right, let's move on to the linebackers. Had some pretty big games over here. Leading the way with Jerome Baker. I mean, he had a monster game yesterday. Myles Jack right behind him, though. I mean, what are we looking at here for totals on Myles Jack? Myles Jack, 11 total tackles, 8 of them solos, a sack, a tackle for loss, and 3 quarterback hits. So they were sending Myles Jack in there to get some work. Jerome Baker, 16 tackles, 13 solo, 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss, 1 quarterback hit. He ended up with 41 points in IDP 1-2-3 scoring, which, just to let people kind of know where that put him in the IDP side of things. I mean, Devontae Adams yesterday in PPR had 41.6. So if you had Jerome Baker, you basically had the Devontae Adams equivalent on your team. So a lot of those teams are looking good today. Plenty of guys started Jerome Baker in the IDP leagues that I'm in, and they were very happy about it. He basically led the league. I mean, unless you get a TJ Watt go out there and put up over 40 points tonight, looks like Jerome Baker is going to close that, or Blake Martinez. He could have a big game tonight too. So, but
yeah, I mean,
of those two, which was more surprising to you?
Jerome Baker. I mean, as much as I like him, and you know, he had a good year last year, he didn't have a game-changing week last year like he did yesterday. I mean, that was ridiculous.
Yeah,
I mean, in one of my leagues, he scored 50. So it's just crazy to see little stuff like that. Well, you know, I take that back. Myles Jack was a stinker last year. So for Myles Jack to do what he did yesterday, at least Jerome Baker was consistent last year. Myles Jack was expected to be the guy last year with Aldon Smith gone. He's filling the middle. I think they figured out, hey, with Joe here, and Joe Schobert was everywhere too, we can send Myles Jack. And that was a big difference for them yesterday. And, of course, at one point, you know, their quarterback just is ridiculous. Yesterday had one of the greatest single-game performances in history. So that was a big deal.
Yeah. Patrick Queen, that was kind of a big surprise to me. I mean, he ended up with a pretty good game, 24 points, 8 tackles. He had a sack, a forced fumble, and a quarterback hit, and he did all that on like less than 80% of the overall snaps. So that was I mean, I'll take my loss there. I didn't expect him to necessarily perform like that, or I didn't expect him to perform like that, and he had limited snaps, but he did, and it was the Browns. So, getting a sack and a forced fumble on the Browns is maybe a little bit easier than some other teams. But good on him, top 5 linebacker so far this week. Both the Tampa Bay linebackers were on fire last night too, David and White. 11 tackles for Levante David, a couple of tackle for loss as well. I mean, I loved Levante David. And then right on his heels with one less point was Devin White. He also had 11 tackles. So they were both basically stride for stride yesterday against New Orleans. And then, I mean, Demario Davis in that same game, 20 points as well. Sack.
Demario Davis, big day.
Yeah. He always feels. I feel like he always gets a sack. Like every time I see him, he's sacking somebody. Only 6 tackles, but he got the sack. He got a tackle for loss, quarterback hit. Big day for Demario Davis. He didn't have to have more than 6 tackles, and he still finished as a stud at the linebacker position.
Agreed. I was actually surprised with Fred Warner. Him basically coming off the COVID list 2 days before the game, and honestly, a decent game overall. He had 6 assists and or 6 solos.
10 total.
Yeah,
Micah Kiser had 19 points. I mean, same number of points as Fred Warner yesterday. Jalen Smith, Eric Kendricks. There's another guy. I've been off the Browns linebackers because I just wasn't sure what was going to happen. Kiser was there last year, but he never played. So I was like, "Kid, does this guy suck? What am I missing here?" I need to see him do it. They played him yesterday as their main guy, and I mean, he was making plays, 2 pass deflections. I mean, that boosted his score up. That gave him. I mean, you take those away, it's a 13-point day. But I mean, he got him, so it's a 19-point day for him. He was out there. He seemed like he was kind of the guy that was taking care of business on the tackle end of things against Zeke last night.
Yeah, for me, a dud in that list, Bobby Wagner. And you can even put Darius Leonard in there, but Darius Leonard never plays well against the Jags. Me and a friend of mine were talking about it. Statistically, if he didn't have the interception last year against the Jags and last couple weeks of the season, he has another dud week against the Jags. I don't know if he just plays differently or how they line him up against the Jags, a pass heavy thing, just drop him more. I think in the aspect that you have to play like that, send that dude. I mean, he's as good an athlete as you're going to have on the field. And that was probably for me, one of the best games to watch yesterday, that and the San Francisco game. But Darius Leonard and Bobby Wagner, both who I have in several leagues, just a mediocre day. So a lot of assists, as you would say, not a lot of big tackles.
Yeah, kind of a pedestrian day. I mean, only 13 points for Darius Leonard. Wagner had 17, I think. So not like game breaking weeks, but they didn't lose you the week either. So, you take the good with the bad.
Yep. Who else did it? We're talking about injuries, and Joe Schobert again had 5 solos, 3 assists, kind of everywhere. Again, we expect that All-Pro Joe.
Khalil Mack out here stinking it up as per usual, it seems like for him. Isaiah Simmons let you down yesterday. He didn't play very many snaps, only 6 points.
Well, he got burnt.
Yeah, early
several times. So
and they pulled him. He still had more points than Tremaine Edmonds had. Edmonds went out with a shoulder injury. I didn't actually see that bit. I was flipping in between that game and the what was the other game I was focusing on? The Seahawks game a lot. And I just missed whenever he got hurt, I guess.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to pull up the Bills injury report. With as much stuff as they had happen, who knows? Josh Norman's on IR now. Right before the game, they put him on IR, which is kind of crazy.
John Bostic had a big game yesterday for Washington. I mean, basically start everybody in Washington.
Well, it's also the matchup too. I still think the Eagles are that great. So
I know.
I don't trust that line. I don't trust the receivers. But Washington's front seven, we overall played ridiculous good. And they were what? Washington was down 17-0 and had 24 unanswered points. Like it was nothing. Like here we go.
Yeah.
Let's different half, different team.
Peyton Barber just set the world on fire.
Yeah.
Antonio Gibson
That's
didn't do much. Oh, how about your man? How about your man Boston Scott out here?
Bro, I'm talking about a miss. Biggest miss. Now, I will say that I know that I had a buddy missing it, and he's playing against me. So I had a little bit of slyness into my talk, but I didn't think he would miss like that. Being the only guy. Now, he did go out with injury for a little bit from, off and on. But, dude, talk about people that blows up at the end of the ball games are Calvin Ridley, who had, 2 catches before the fourth quarter. And
Calvin, you knew Calvin Ridley was going to. You should have known that. That's what
he didn't do anything until the fourth quarter. Nothing.
It doesn't matter. It's what he does. He's a monster, dude. Calvin Ridley is unreal. People were fantasy. Apparently, according to fantasy Twitter yesterday, Boston Scott was just Christian McCaffrey waiting to happen. That's what I heard.
And I didn't believe that.
Play Boston Scott. I remember looking at tweets like that and being like, I would never in a million years pull anybody out of a lineup I already have set to put Boston Scott in. Like,
real quick, it's funny you bring up the McCaffrey thing. 2 years in a row on the final play of the game, 4th down, you don't give McCaffrey the ball and you don't get a first down. Isn't that interesting?
Well,
how you give the fullback a ball and you got CMC in the backfield?
They don't want to be predictable, man. They want to be cool.
2 different coaches.
Hey, how about old Sam Darnold? He sucks, doesn't he?
Hey, bro, I didn't call the Sam Darnold sucks.
No.
Ohio State.
He's another one of those guys I feel like everyone just tries to make a thing, and it's like there's
all you had to do watch
thing.
is the Rose Bowl with Ohio State against USC to know what you're going to get out of Sam Darnold. I don't care what anybody says. I called that from the get. So I'm happy about that one. But my boy Baker Mayfield didn't look great either. So
no, Baker Mayfield looked like hot garbage. Jamie Collins, that team is that real quick.
The Ravens might be a Super Bowl team. So let's pump our brakes a little bit. So
you're right. We need to get old Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield.
We didn't talk about Patrick Queen. Patrick Queen had a ridiculous day yesterday.
Yeah, Jamie Collins got ejected, which sucked. He already had like 5 or 6 points in like the first 3 minutes of that game, and then he was out.
Then he headbutts the guy.
He was it was stupid. I mean, it was a boneheaded thing to do.
I think he was just trying to play around, and the ref's like, "Nah, bro, it's not a thing."
Well, somebody told me he was trying to show the ref what some guy did to antagonize him. But either way, he's like, "Don't be an idiot." Exactly, don't be an idiot. So.
They might have caught, and
you're not a Patriot anymore. You can't do stuff like that and get away with it. Okay, like this was the rest of the NFL.
What's up? Yeah, that's what's up.
All right, that's kind of everybody that so far has performed. At the linebacker spot. Let's talk about the best safety, the best defensive back, maybe the best player in the entire NFL, Jamal Adams. Jamal Adams goes out here and just does what he always does, which is get boatload of points for you in a variety of ways. 12 tackles, 8 of them solo, 2 tackles for loss. Okay, he's blitzing, he's having fun. He said in his interview, 2 quarterback hits. Oh, a sack. He'll never repeat his sacks. He can't sack anybody. It's too rigid of a system in Seattle, they cried in the darkness. That's where they are now, in the darkness. The light has been shown. Jamal Adams is the man. I hope he's on your team. He's on a lot of mine. I paid up. I still paid up because he's worth it. I did a few spots I missed him in. It hurts, but I'll tell you what, I was smiling all day yesterday knowing that I got him in a lot of spots. 32 points, leading all the defensive backs, ranked defensive back 1 for a reason. Led the Seattle Seahawks in tackles. First game.
You know who's number 2?
Who? Bobby?
No. My dude. The
Marquise Blair? Marquise Blair? I saw his jersey out there flying around. We got, people, listen up. Marquise Blair is maybe finally a thing. Quandre Diggs still had a half-decent game as well yesterday, but there may 3 safeties. Maybe they'll let Jamal Adams play more of a linebacker role. I don't know. All I know is you shouldn't have faded Jamal Adams. Nobody should have. That was insanity this summer. Buda Baker. Like, these two guys are like, they're 1 and 2 for a reason. Like, they never let you down. Like, they have the most prototypical games that they've ever played in their lives. Buda Baker comes out and just gets 15 tackles. That's it. But he gets them. 15 of those motherfuckers. 10 solos, 5 assists. And then Jamal Adams comes out there and just kicks in the door and does everything. I mean, it's unreal.
You know, they gave Isaiah Simmons the chance.
Yeah.
They gave Simmons the chance. And then they're like, never mind, Buda, go get him. Yeah. Buda went after Kittle.
Dude, Buda was flying. He was everywhere. I feel like every time there was a group of guys, he was like diving under the pack, just like to grab snatch somebody's ankles. Like, he was stealing tackles from dudes. Like, there's like 9 guys converging. He's like, mine. Like, dude, he's so fun to watch. I guess I kind of buried the lead, though. Marcus May, who was questionable with an injury yesterday, came out yesterday. He did put up a pretty monster game. He actually had a better game than Jamal Adams, but Jamal Adams definitely needed that intro. 10 tackles, 7 solo, 2 tackles for loss, 2 pass deflections, 2 sacks. So, I mean, he did have the 2 sacks. He did have the 2 pass deflections, which did put him a little bit over Jamal Adams. 44 points in IDP 1-2-3 scoring. I can say, honestly, that I don't think I have him anywhere. I looked at most of my leagues this morning, but I know a lot of people I got a lot of messages yesterday from people saying, oh, I picked up Marcus May because I moved him up in my rankings yesterday just because when I saw he was active and, people, I guess, checked it out and they're like, I played him. And I was like, good. That makes me happy that somebody did. And I'm glad I didn't play against him either.
So here's the thing, is we talked about this weeks and weeks ago before the season started. I said, Marcus May was going to be my biggest mover of the season, hands down, from 117 to number 1 DB right now. I mean, that's the difference in his ADP. And if he just goes what he's doing, plays the Jamal Adams role, because, he's a great coverage guy. We see that. He can sack a quarterback. We saw that yesterday. Marcus May is going to be a top 10 and probably a top 5 guy. And it might be Jamal Adams, Marcus May, Buda Baker. Top 3, call it. It might happen. So,
yeah,
especially if they all 3 stay healthy.
He's probably still on some waiver wires too, guys. I mean, Marcus May or may not be rostered in your league.
It won't be Wednesday.
Check that out.
Wednesday.
You're definitely going to want to put him on your team if you have some of these other guys that are a little bit more piddly, so to speak. Let's talk about Tracy Walker. 83% of snaps, went out and did what he always does, which is put up a boatload of points for your IDP team. 9 tackles, 8 of them solo, 2 tackles for loss, a pass deflection, which was almost an interception. And if he would have actually got that, I mean, it was pretty much just him and the quarterback. I think he could have beat him. So Tracy Walker's a walking big play. We already know this. He gets all kinds of impact plays on the field. We saw that in 83% of snaps yesterday. People were so shook yesterday because they didn't know if Tracy Walker, well, do I play Tracy Walker or this guy or that guy? Tracy Walker's been running with the 2s. It's just, like I said, I'm going down with this ship. I mean, I know what Tracy Walker is. I know what he's capable of. I'm not going to get cute with my lineups because of some thing that I saw on Twitter that some other guy retweeted and subtweeted and said this that happened 6 weeks ago or a month ago, or there's some. No, I remember what Tracy Walker is and what he was for your teams last year. Don't pull him out of your lineup for anybody.
Yep,
I mean, if you have Tracy Walker, he should. I mean, I just don't know how you could pull him out of your lineups with good conscience. So he crushed yesterday.
I'm with you. He did crush yesterday. And you said yesterday, like, listen, it's just a guy who they're letting somebody run with the ones in case he goes out, in case he gets injured. We know what we have with this guy. Let's see what the other guy has. And that's what he's playing with. Comes out, balls out, does what we expect him to do yesterday. Tracy Walker's a stud. You can't. I mean, if you want to fade him, but you're going to lose. So
yeah. Janoris Jenkins had a big game. A lot of that was his interception return for a touchdown. Casey Hayward had a big day. He was really busy yesterday. I think he had an interception as well. Jaheir Alexander had a big day. Adrian Phillips came out and basically did what I thought Kyle Duggar was going to do. I don't even think Kyle Duggar showed up. Got a big old 0 from him in a couple spots. CJ Henderson. So we got this rookie cornerback. He had a big game, 27.2 points. Might be something to keep an eye on. He did play Phillip Rivers. Sure. Who's Jacksonville play? If Jacksonville's going to be in a pass heavy matchup, he's the guy that I would definitely be paying attention to. Jonathan Abram came through with a big game yesterday too. Same number of points as Tracy Walker, 24. I did not expect that from him, honestly, but it was good to see. 13 tackles, a tackle for loss, 9 of them solos.
I think my biggest surprise yesterday was Emmanuel Mosley.
Yeah, he had
11 tackles, 11 solos from a cornerback. Now, I'll give you – you're playing the maybe the biggest pass-happy team in the NFL in the Cardinals. So, and if you're guarding a guy who gets 16 receptions and D-Hop, then that's what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So, he was one of my biggest surprises, to be honest with you. And I'm not a cornerback, guy. I'm not a preacher, as you would say.
Yeah, just a little behind them. He used to be Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. Now his name's Chauncey Deuce. 22 points. He led the Saints in tackles yesterday. He's a safety that looks like he's going to be playing where Von Bell was playing. I know Malcolm Jenkins is there as well. I don't think Chauncey played 100% of snaps yesterday, but Von Bell barely played 100%. Yeah.
Well, Malcolm Jenkins had the bigger day because of the pick 6, but I mean that was the.
Janoris
Jenkins.
Janoris Jenkins. Yeah, I was gonna say he had a bigger day. Deuce had a bigger day. So yeah, I mean you got some guys there that had some big games. Several of them were in your lineups for sure. Bradley McDougald ended up having a good day too. The other safety there was traded from the Seahawks. Quandre Diggs in Seattle had a good game, 19 points. Stephon Gilmore, 19.5. We had some guys that you kind of expected to have bigger games, not show up really big in the box score, like Harrison Smith. I didn't really see or hear much from him yesterday. Landon Collins, kind of a quiet day. They didn't let you down necessarily, but it was not the kind of day I was anticipating. Even Von Bell, I thought he'd have a bigger day, only 12 points.
Well, he just didn't make any splash plays. He had, 8 tackles?
Yeah, something like that. 6, 7, 8.
So, I mean, he's there. He just didn't have a pick or anything like that. I mean, are you really going to have that on a guy that doesn't really throw the ball and Tyrod Taylor?
True. Harrison Smith only had 4 tackles yesterday. That was kind of a letdown, but I'm still rocking with him, obviously. I mean, it was just a bad day for the Vikings overall. They missed Diggs. You could tell they needed something going on in that first half, and it was just not there. Kirk Cousins still salvaged his fantasy day, so that was nice of him for you.
Yeah, they needed that fourth quarter. I mean, Dalvin Cook was the same way. I mean, didn't even see Dalvin Cook until the fourth quarter, and he had 2 touchdowns. So, I mean, 12 carries? For a guy who just signed a massive contract to get 12 carries is pretty interesting to me.
Yeah, very true. We got anybody else we want to highlight from yesterday? I mean, guys, I'm sure we missed some people.
Nate Gary?
Yeah, Gary had a nice game.
5 solos, 5 assists.
2 tackles for loss, 19 points. I'm a Nate Gary guy.
Aaron Donald doing Aaron Donald things, like, what he does.
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't have a phenomenal day, but he had early sack. But they were double teaming at the time too, which was crazy. Takk McKinley's still one of the biggest surprises. I just wasn't expecting it.
Yeah, I thought Fowler would have that day and Takk would have the other day, but anything's possible. I think Dante Fowler still had the most defensive end snaps on the team. It was Grady Jarrett, then him, and then Takris was down a little bit lower. So
I'll give you one surprise. Darian Thompson, safety for the Cowboys, 9 solos.
Yeah. Is he their free safety? I guess he's the guy who stole the job from Clinton.
He's their strong safety.
Okay.
I mean, but yeah, he's the guy who stole his job and kicked him out. So he's a small school kid too. So I'm a fan.
He's probably on some waiver wires. Darian Thompson, you
Oh, for
said?
sure. Yeah. Jermaine Pratt had a decent day.
Yeah, Pratt. Yeah, I don't know how I missed him in my thing.
7
He did have
solos,
another good day.
5 assists, 12 total. I mean, nothing really after that. I mean, he had 12 tackles.
Man, Joe Burrow came close to getting that comeback.
He made one bonehead move where he flipped the ball for an interception.
Yeah, and Melvin Ingram just cradled it like a baby. Dude, Melvin Ingram getting a little chubby. He a big boy out there.
It's funny. Yeah, he needs to lose a little weight, but he's still.
It's funny.
The thing is, still a beast.
Because Tillery was like looking. Because isn't Tillery the DT? Tillery looked smooth. I mean, he looked good. He looked lean. He looked lean and long and scary. And it looked more like Melvin Ingram was the guy that'd be sitting in the middle to me. So I'm interested to see Tillery's. I'm interested to watch his development. And Melvin Ingram even said something about how he thought Tillery made a big step just in that game. It's the Bengals, okay, and it's a rookie, so we got.
I'll give you, but Tillery looked good.
Yeah, so we'll have to see how they match up next week. I mean, I guess good for Tyrod. He beat the Bengals. He's got a win. I don't know how the last time Tyrod had a win was. So let's give Tyrod this moment of
this moment.
Yeah, this moment. This is the only one he'll get. Sorry,
he's
bro.
He's in trouble the rest of the season. I mean, and people are even calling for Herbert after the first quarter.
Oh, I was calling for Herbert. Yeah, garbage.
Yeah, I saw you post on Twitter. Can we see Herbert already?
What the heck's up with Mike Williams' ass? Like, I had him at the end of my benches forever, all the last 2 weeks in my redraft leagues. And he's like, oh, he's broken. Oh, he's going to miss all September. So I finally drop him to pick up some defenses or something. And then he goes out and does exactly what he always does, which is catch 4 passes for 90 yards.
Well, yeah, he had the shoulder separation.
He looked fine, and every catch he had, he was jumping up 6 feet in the air and just landing on his back, and he just hopped right back up. I'm like, I'm so confused right now,
dude.
I thought he was out.
I was just watching, and he just gets up like it's nothing.
Yeah, and I was just like, wait, I was like, that's the guy who's not playing today, right? I was like, that's Mike Williams. Oh, so annoyed. Yeah. Anyway, so now I'm going to have to go fight with people on the waiver wires to get him back because he looked fine. And as soon as Tyrod gets out of there, he'll actually be productive. So,
the one guy that we were wondering what he was going to be, Jonathan Abram.
True, and he
big day, 9 solos.
Who we thought he was.
4 assists. He is what they drafted. He had a good, first game last year, but again. You want him to be healthy, and we need him to be healthy because he could be a baller. He really could be. I mean, 13 tackles out of a guy? Come on, give me all of that. I think that's pretty much all he did. He had something else, though, right?
Yeah, that's pretty much the main guys. Let's
one tackle for loss.
Let's talk about these 2 games tonight. We got some very IDP relevant players coming in for the Broncos. Let's do the Broncos Titans first. Broncos, obviously, AJ Johnson is a summer night, not one of the kings of the Knights of Summer roundtable. He is going to be that guy. I think he's going to deliver. They cut Todd Davis. He looks like he's in a good spot to deliver. Bradley Chubb, potential pitch count. Bradley Chubb, I'm playing him as if he's in your lineup at this point, you're probably stuck with him. High upside, but a 3. I'm going to say that's kind of where I'm at with him. A low level 3 this week. I'm pretty sure it's Rio's in my rankings. On this team, though, you're really excited about Justin Simmons. I mean, that's kind of your, he and AJ Johnson, I would say, are probably the 2 guys that a lot of people in IDP are probably starting this week, maybe depending on for a little Monday night miracle. And on the other side of the ball, you got Jayon Brown, Harold Landry, Jadeveon Clowney, who, given everything that's happened this week, is probably going to go out and smash. And Rashaan Evans, my guy for the year. So all those guys are all very IDP relevant. You got the safeties too, Vaccaro, Byard. I don't know. I don't have them in any leagues, but I know they're in a lot of, they're very IDP relevant guys. So there's a lot of action going on. Who are you most interested in watching tonight, seeing shake out in this matchup?
Well, in this matchup, because you got some players that can score. Rashaan Evans, obviously for me, I'd like to see what he's about. Kevin Beard, I want to see if they try to stretch the field, with A.J. Brown and see on the other side what Justin Simmons does against A.J. Brown, area. That's the biggest one for me. Again, Bradley Chubb has such high upside. He could, who knows? Marcus May was probable. We don't know if he's going to play, and then boom, has the, leads all of fantasy football. So that in that aspect, Bradley Chubb tends to play pretty well. A.J. Johnson is going to ball. I expect him to ball out, especially because you're going to hand the rock to him. To Henry. It's going to happen. So there's some very good names in this one. As much as I like the other matchup.
I think Derrick Henry's the only active running back for the Titans tonight, because I think they only kept 2 on their roster, and Everton's out. So I think I saw something to that effect on Twitter by somebody who.
Wow, that would be crazy. They must expect him to stay healthy all season. Not put a running back on your, at a minimum as a backup. So I don't know who the backup would be. I get Everton would be, but if he's not listed, we'll see what comes game time. That'd be crazy though. If you're the Broncos, you stack in the box and making Tannehill beat you, because Tannehill obviously shows he can beat you last year. So that'll be interesting to me. Who's your picking that?
Titans. Just because, Drew Lock is still, he doesn't have a full season of play under his belt.
He's got some weapons, though.
Tannehill at this point is a seasoned veteran in the NFL. That guy's been through everything. And now that he's in a situation where things are going his way, watch out. I think he's going to come out and he's going to try to smoke this. He's going to try to smoke Drew Lock. And he got the offense to do it. He's got the defense to do it. So I think the Broncos are in trouble. I'm not to say that there won't be fantasy value there. From a fantasy standpoint, they have a lot of guys that are very relevant offensively. Sutton's going to be out, I think. But Judy, you got Fant, you got Lindsey and Melvin Gordon. So, Andrew Lock in your super flex league. So, there are people that are playing, that offense, which could be good. It could be a situation kind of like Green Bay and the Vikings yesterday, where they just get beat down and there's garbage time points there. So everybody kind of wins from our perspective of the game. For me, though, the guys that I'm really interested in, that I have a lot of play in, is the Titans players. I got Jayon Brown, Rashaan Evans, a lot of spots. I'm hoping they both come out and have, Levante David, Devin White kind of day. Let's just get up there, get 20 points for me, guys. Let's look good. Let's get this done. Let's score some points. Let's, get the snaps up there. And I'm ready to rock with those guys tonight. Want to talk about any of them? Harold Landry, Jadeveon Clowney. I'm not starting them many spots. Landry does now have the DL tag, which is awesome, but I'm interested to see kind of how their snaps go before I'm playing them anywhere, either of them.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. We'll see. Gonna be a good matchup to watch either way. So,
all right, let's talk about the Steelers and the Giants to finish the show off. We got the Giants. They have some very IDP relevant players: Blake Martinez, and then Logan Ryan and Jabril Peppers being the foremost guys. Marcus Golden as well. O'Shane Zimenez for some other folks that are playing those guys, like myself in a couple spots. And then on the Steelers side of the ball, we have a lot of action. You got Minka, you got Terrell Edmonds, you got Devin Bush, we got TJ Watt, Bud Dupree, and Cam Hayward, and Stephon Tuitt. All are going to be fantasy relevant for you tonight. I need a big game out of TJ Watt in a couple of spots to really just beat down some opponents. And I need a big game just to squeak out a win in a league or two. So I feel very good.
Tell me this. I want your honest opinion. Who you taking? Logan Ryan, Terrell Edmonds? Because I don't know where Logan Ryan's playing. He's playing safety or corner.
But the thing is, he's going to be productive at both, I think. I'm playing in that game. I'm playing Logan Ryan. I'm playing Logan Ryan.
Yeah.
I'm playing Logan Ryan.
I've been on Terrell Edmonds this whole time.
Terrell Edmonds isn't going to get you a single pass deflection, though. Maybe not. He's just not. Logan Ryan's got more interceptions.
He's got more interceptions than Budda Baker.
That doesn't matter. I'm saying, what are you? I mean, I'm saying, what are you looking for? Pass deflection is a 3-point play in IDP 1, 2, 3. I mean, I want a guy who's going to get me 1 or 2 of those instead of another tackle. Logan Ryan, if he plays safety or corner, is going to be more likely to get that than a Terrell Edmonds safety situation.
Logan Ryan's for real, and it's crazy that the Patriots ever let him go. And
I need a big game. I need TJ Watt to just validate the shit out of me and get like 3 sacks tonight, 2 forced fumbles, recover 1 for a touchdown, and get an interception. That would be sweet.
The only reason I'm considering Logan Ryan, I think the Giants will be on the field more than the
exactly. Oh, the defense. I think the Giants' defense will be on this field a lot. Yeah, you're right. That's the thing, though. That's why I like Logan Ryan as well, because Big Ben, I think, is gonna. I mean, he's gonna throw because that's what he does. So there's gonna be opportunities for Logan Ryan to capitalize on. So, big matchup
thing for sure.
Devin Bush, Blake Martinez, both top 15 guys for me this week. I think they're both top 10 actually. So I mean, I'm hoping
they're gonna do some work to be in the top 10.
I know, yeah, there's some big boys up there, but I believe in them. I mean, they've both got that kind of upside, so I'll take it. Especially Blake Martinez, if he just goes out and does what he always does, and the Steelers come out and they run, they play this game offensively and they control the situation. Blake Martinez is going to run up those tackle numbers tonight. So,
yep, I'm with you. Either way, man, it's going to be a great matchup. So, it'll be interesting to see how that goes, and I can't wait to talk about it next week. So.
Yep. All right, let's bring old Steve in here and let's close this puppy out.
How you doing, guys?
Great, brother. How are you?
Doing great. Say, I noticed that John Johnson and Taylor Rapp were both duds yesterday.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Terrible.
Taylor Rapp apparently, which I didn't really realize this, apparently he had a knee injury all camp and missed a bunch of camp. I just was completely unaware of that. That's all me, guys. Sorry. I had him in my top 12. I think he only played a few snaps and mostly special teams when he was out there. And John Johnson, I honestly don't really understand what happened with him yesterday. I mean, I saw him a lot. It seemed like he was in playmaking situations, but he just wasn't getting the stats. So that was unfortunate. But you win some, you lose some, still was a good game. And it was, the Cowboys did drive down the field a lot. So the opportunities were there. It just didn't fall his way.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So, some games you win, some games you lose.
Mm-hmm.
Loving CeeDee Lamb, though.
Yeah, he had a good game. If Michael Gallup wouldn't have got that garbage PI call, dude, Jalen Ramsey, I like Jalen Ramsey, but that was annoying. I was like, bro, that was some cheap shit. And it was weird because you could tell as soon as he knew the separation was there, I was like, did he trip or is he really doing that? And did he get pushed? Did he trip or was he really faking it that much? He didn't trip and he did not get pushed. He sold that. In stride, Gallup was getting away from him and he just running was just I was so annoyed because that would have been awesome for Gallup to get that bomb. I mean, just at the end of the game, that's what Gallup does. Big play, huge yard. I mean, he gets such a deep, his receptions are so deep. He only needed a couple to really, I think he would have been second on the team in receiving if he would have got that. Mari Cooper ended up coming through, but yeah,
whatever. A lot of pass interference calls in that Saints-Bucks game.
Yeah.
Lattimore got called for one I thought was kind of Evans.
You know how they like to treat some of these guys. You know how they do down there in New Orleans.
And I gotta agree about that Collins call. That Collins that was kind of questionable. That was the knucklehead move. He went up there just kind of headbutted him. He's it was almost like he was demonstrating what he was doing and just went up, just kind of nudged the ref, and it was such a knucklehead move. I was like, what are you doing? He was having a great game, and he had scored, I think, 5 points up to 8 points.
Yeah, I mean, he had gotten a pass deflection, a couple of tackles, so.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, that's pretty much all from me. Anything else from you guys before we close this puppy out?
No.
That's a thing I say now, close this puppy out.
Puppy out, huh?
That's my thing. I'm the puppy guy.
Puppy guy, You're gonna have to get a puppy then. You got a puppy yet?
I know. I need to get a puppy. Jared's the one with the puppy.
Uh-oh.
Oh no, Jared's gone.
Oh, it looks like he already closed this puppy out.
Oh, you're killing me. Let's give him a second, see if he gets back in here. If not, I'll close this out because we're pretty much done for the day.
Okay, that sounds good. Well, tell you what, why don't you go ahead and close the puppy out?
All right, let's close this puppy out, guys. Thanks for listening. IDP Army, we appreciate you. Like, subscribe, share, tell everybody you know. Follow us on the Instagrams and on the Twitter sphere. We will be back next week with Week 2 Studs and Duds. If you need a big win tonight, I hope you get it. TJ Watt, in Watt we trust, baby. So let's go.